Sage Advice with Melissa is a new informative health and lifestyle show for you to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully. Whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from the best experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. It's her mission to guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness and to give you a voice on what can help improve your life and your mental, physical, and spiritual journey. Okay, audience, here's Melissa.
Sage Advice with Melissa. This is your host, Melissa Coleman, and we are here with you live on Facebook every Thursday from 10 to 11. And then we air on the radio here locally in St. Louis on 92.9 FM, 102.9 FM every Saturday from noon to 1. And then you can follow us all week long from 7 to 8 a.m. and then again from noon to 1 p.m. on My Genre Radio Network. We are all across the U.S., so you have plenty of time to see what we're up to and what we're doing. So as we shared with everybody the beginning of the month, this is the month of love, and Valentine's Day is just around the corner. So we have Kara and Edmundo Mendez with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So excited to have you here.
Yes,
They are the love gurus. Well, I'll refer to you that way.
Oh, thank you.
They've got a great process going between them, and we're going to be sharing all of that with you. But I'd love to introduce you to our audience, which is growing by the day. And we're going to get on with the things. So Edmundo and Kara Mendez facilitate their clients through the extraordinary journey of returning back to the wholeness within themselves, the state of unconditional love and acceptance of all your parts. This path of liberation includes sacred plant medicine ceremonies, ancient sweat lodge ceremonies, in-person healing sessions, transformational retreats, and coaching. In their work, they create a harmonious balance of the inner masculine and feminine energy archetypes that leads to full soul expression and a blissful life experience. They are a married couple, entrepreneurs, and parents to 5 beautiful children. I don't know how you have time for anything else. They have been together for over 17 years and married for 9. During this time, they have navigated the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, marriage, parenthood, financial hardship, and inner healing. There's not much they have not faced together. Their journey together was not always easy, but they remained deeply committed to their growth and have overcome many strenuous circumstances together, even when they weren't sure they would make it. Together, they have broken many generational cycles to create a new paradigm of love and bliss for themselves and their children and the clients they work with. Kara walks the path of the priestess, the sacred and holy woman. She is a liberator of sacred sexuality and a divine channel for the primordial mother. She practices tantric teachings and is certified in pranic healing, NLP, hypnosis, emotional freedom technique, time technique as a success coach. Her own personal healing journey has been her primary path of initiation for her soul's divine remembrance of wholeness. She is the creator of the Divine Feminine Mastery Program, the Liberated Woman, as well as facilitates in-person healing sessions and mentors women privately. Edmundo walks the path of a shaman. He is a Tantra practitioner as well as certified in Reiki, NLP, hypnosis, emotional freedom technique, time technique, and as a success coach. He guides women in returning to their sacredness through facilitating sweat lodge and plant medicine ceremonies, retreats, as well as in-person healing sessions by reconnecting them with Mother Earth. That is quite a bio, lady.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you.
To both of you. So I am like super excited to have you here with us today because I think, as we talk so often on the show, everything is mind, body, and spirit.
Mhm.
And I feel like when I was reading through your bio, it's like you embrace all aspects,
Yes.
and everything that you've gone through in your own relationship. And
Yes.
I feel like being right before Valentine's Day,
Mm.
especially for those that don't have that significant other, that, there's things that need to change in order to find that right person
Yes.
too. So I think this
Mhm.
is like the perfect opportunity and place to have you today. So
Mm.
again, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you.
So, yes. So let's kind of just jump in. So,
Yeah.
what brought the two of you to this very rare work as priestess and shaman? And I'll let you, whoever
Go
wants
ahead.
to start first.
I'll you go first.
Well, for me, I grew up without really like having that connection to the divine. I had a very traumatic childhood, what I would consider a traumatic childhood, and I was very disconnected from myself. And I never wanted to be a mother. As you said, we have 5 children now.
Yes.
But I met Edmundo, and he was determined to make me a mother.
I'm Mexican. So.
Exactly. I have friends that are
Big
that.
family.
Yes, lots of kids.
So but that, even though that was like what I thought I never wanted to do, it actually was the exact initiation that set me on my path. And I could have never like fathomed that. But ultimately what it did was brought up all of my wounding, right?
Yes.
As motherhood and parenthood does, as being in relationship with anyone does. It brought up all of my wounding to the surface, all of my perfectionism, all of my like need for external validation, my performance, my, prove how worthy, like I'm going to work to prove how worthy I am.
Mhm.
All of that came to the surface and ultimately led me to severe adrenal fatigue, like total burnout. And even though I had created this, everything we were experiencing in our life, we also homeschool our children. And I naturally birthed them, and I did all of these like really amazing holistic
Mhm.
experiences and created this for myself and my life, but I was still miserable. I was exhausted. I was unfulfilled.
Mhm.
And I didn't understand like why this was happening. And when I got sick, I had to just put so much down and kind of start over again.
Mhm.
And when I did that, I began to heal again. And that was 6 years ago. I had already again, motherhood was this catalyst. My oldest son is 16 now. So I started, the rumblings of,
Yes.
of the journey then. But it really deepened about 6 years ago. And since then, I've just been on this really intentional path to remembering who I am.
Mhm.
And of course, I couldn't help but share it with the world. I knew, that there were so many others that were
Yes.
experiencing
Yes.
this.
That's what I'm loving about this time. It's like
Mhm.
everybody's finding their way, and it's like, and it's those things, that sickness that like I
Mhm.
tease everybody on the show here. It's like every time I've literally been thrown on the ground, broken a foot, fractured
Mhm.
something, it's that time to sit and really focus in. Yes.
Surrender.
Yes.
I'm just hearing surrender.
Yes.
That's
yes.
exactly what that adrenal fatigue was for me. It was a moment of like, surrender this.
Mhm. Because you can't do
I
anything else.
cannot keep doing this.
Yes.
It's time to surrender it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And how about you, Edmundo?
So, like Karen was saying, for me, like Karen was saying, is being a remembrance. So I'm from I was born in San Diego, and then when I was 5, I moved to Oaxaca, Mexico, and then from there I came back to the States when I was almost 9 to San Diego, and so I lived like 5 minutes away from the beach, and I just found so much healing there. This is where I would just go and meditate, just sit there and look at the ocean and really connect with that spirituality, with that part of me. And then when I was almost 18, I came to St. Louis, and I totally lost myself. It was a new environment, new culture, new
Mhm.
weather, new everything. And so I forgot who I was. And in 2005, when I met Kara, just like Kara was saying, also becoming a father really brought everything. I felt like I really needed to get back, remember who I was, and that's been my journey also. And along the way, I found the shaman path
Mhm.
and started doing plant medicine, and then the sweat lodge, and it's something that I have a great desire to share with other people,
Mhm.
so they can also remember who they are.
Yes. Yes.
And I felt like this work like chose us. It just really fell in our laps. It's not like we were like, oh, we're gonna do this. It's just through this journey of we've been married for 17 years, gone through so many initiations, so many like turmoil, and to come on the other side, it was like we wanted to come back and tell other people like, hey, there's better. There's you don't have to live in this place of depression or resistance and self-sabotaging behaviors and all that. And so it became our mission to share this with the world.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And for you being here as long as you have without the water, because I feel like water is
Yes.
such a healing element. How are you surviving that all this time here?
Well,
Or do
actually,
you travel a lot to the water?
we were before COVID hit, but actually, it's a great question. I've been here in Missouri for 24 years, something like that, 24 years.
24.
And every winter I was going through depression. Every winter it was just basically being in bed, not wanting to do anything.
Mhm.
And I started adopting like different routines just to help me out, and it did. And for the last, I would say 6 years, it's been better. But there's that thing where my body and my soul yearns to be next to the water. So actually my parents moved to Oaxaca, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they live next to the beach, so we're planning a big trip to go there in the summer, and just Kara and I, and then in the winter, take the whole family there.
Mhm.
And we're thinking about maybe opening a retreat center down there
Yes.
and being next to the water, and it's just something that I can't shake. It's just I have to. It's part of who I am.
Yes.
And I think that it'll allow me to just get to that next level.
Very awesome. Very awesome. My marketing person is actually on her way to your hometown.
Is that
your
right?
Yes. She just came back from there. She's done a couple yoga retreats and learning. There were some
know what-
seminars.
Do you know what part?
Oaxaca.
You know what?
Oh, not where exactly, but it was beautiful
It
wherever
is
she was.
beautiful.
I mean, it was. I was like, and you're coming back? Why?
Yeah. Kara's never been, so
I've never been to Oaxaca, but we did go to San Diego a couple of
Yes.
times. We've been
Which
to
is
we went
also
to Florida, but
beautiful.
it's just a different vibe.
Mhm.
East Coast versus West Coast. But I will say, as you were talking, I was like, oh, but we actually have a lake in our subdivision.
Oh,
And
nice.
so like
That is
there
true.
are water elements, and Eddie has I'm sorry, he's Eddie to me. He built a pond, a healing oasis in our backyard.
we have 3 water features in the house.
And
because of
Okay.
that.
oh, so
Yes,
so you
yeah.
ask about the water, which is such a great question, but
Yes.
he has incorporated that into our home, our property, our sacred land.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your house.
Yes,
It's
me too.
Because
literally
I
like
love the water.
it's literally like a retreat center there.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we have I think like 3 or 4 fireplaces, outdoor fireplaces. We have water features. Like Kara said, I just built an outdoor pond. It's like a swimming pond.
Swimming pond.
Oh, nice.
So
Oh,
the kids
how
love
exciting.
it, and it's just that need to be, surrounded by the elements.
Mhm, mhm.
Water.
Yes.
It's-
I feel you in the winter though, because I
Mhm.
kind of suffer somewhat from that seasonal
Mhm.
affective
Sad.
disorder. So it is hard.
I
'cause
wonder if that's just not actually seasonal affective, and it's like not being connected to the earth during that time, right?
Possibly.
Like missing certain elements,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I've definitely been embracing the cold and the outdoors this year more than ever,
Yeah.
and I feel good.
We had a guest on end of January, and she goes outside, doesn't matter what the temperature is, in her bare feet
Mhm.
in her
Mhm.
backyard, like every morning. And I'm like, probably need to do
Mhm.
that.
We have some stories about that. We tried to do a cold plunge this year.
No, we didn't try. I did it.
Did you do it?
Kara, I lasted like 30 seconds. Kara lasted 5 minutes
Oh,
in cold, freezing water.
Oh,
For our
you
first
are a
time.
brave woman.
Well,
brave.
You have no idea.
I know. I'm like thinking. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I would ever even attempt that.
yeah.
And it was just on a whim. We were
Yeah.
laying in bed on a Sunday, and he's like, "Do you want to go get in the pond?" And it was like freezing cold outside, and I was like, "Fine, sure, whatever. Okay, let's go."
Yeah. Oh my god.
And when I say I'm doing it.
yes,
And he's like, "Oh, I'm not. This is not my vibe. I'm out of here."
I know I struggled to get into a hot tub. It was really cold, but there was a heated hot tub where we were, and I stepped out of it's like if I wasn't all the way under, I'm like, this is not gonna work. So yeah, yes. So let's just get into it.
Yeah.
So what is love?
I think that love is the pure essence of who we are innately.
Mhm.
All humans,
Yes. I would
all
agree.
souls.
Mhm.
And the journey is to return back to that pure essence of who we are.
Yes. Yes.
Whenever we're able to experience other people's love as your own love, that is what we want for everybody. That connection, that
Mhm.
you're not separate from me, and we're all together. And I think that the secret ingredient is love.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yes. I think for everything, like to heal the entire world.
Yes.
It's like,
Mhm.
we talk so often here at the show. It's like it's that shift in consciousness and that realization that we are all one, and that when you get into that place, which I think all of us on that spiritual path is like treating others in the way in which you wish to be treated, that shifts so much in our circles and
Mhm.
outwardly. And
Well, I want to take that a step deeper
I hope you will.
because it's not even about the desire to treat others like we want to be treated. It's once we do treat ourselves with that love, with that reverence, with that sacredness,
Mhm.
then when we come into the presence of another, it activates the love within them.
Mhm.
Because we're not giving love to each other. We are just holding a mirror for your own love.
Mhm. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
And that's how when you talk about like love being the thing for the whole world, when we become pure, unconditional, divine love, each of us, then when we stand in front of another, we activate that we become that mirror and catalyst and activator for that love within themselves to be set free.
Mhm. I was going to say, because we are the mirror
Yes.
for
Yes.
each other
We
in
all are.
Absolutely.
all situations, even the ones that push our buttons
Guiding
the most.
always.
Yeah.
We are
They need to
all
love the most.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and I feel like, whenever there are triggers like what you're talking about,
Mhm.
that is just us resisting seeing the truth.
Mhm.
That's it.
Absolutely. I know when I speak with my spiritual teacher once in a while, when I've been a little frustrated with either
Mhm.
the son
Mhm.
or the hubby, it's her question is, well, where are you showing up like that?
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Always.
so like
100%.
now it's like getting in that, that repetitive mode of really, being aware
Mhm.
when somebody
Mhm.
is triggering you, me, whoever, that you take that moment to pause and think about it and say,
The-
what can I do different?
This has really shown up with our kids. I think it's extremely
Mhm.
hard, especially with us also, but even our kids have been a huge mirror when they're they're throwing a fit, or they want this or want that, to sit there and just love them. It's a beautiful practice.
Yes.
Because in that
Yes.
moment you want to be like, and to constantly have to practice that and be like, okay, you know what? Even like with my girl, my little girl, whenever she has heard or she is going through stuff, she rejects me. She's like, no. She wants to let someone be held or whatever. And for me to just be like, just sit there and just love her and be like, you know what? That's fine. But I'll stay here with you with unconditional love. And this just happened like a few days ago. And Kara was like, man, that's because I told her, I said, listen, I understand you're upset right now. You're going to hold you, but I'm going to sit here with you because I love you. And I don't want you to feel like you have to do this alone. And Kara reflected that was a beautiful moment for her and I.
Absolutely. I think when our kids realize that we love them in that way and
Mhm.
honor that space for them, it does shift those relationships. I mean, it's taken me a while. You know, I have a 23-year-old, the youngest. The two older ones are good. But, you know, even with our 23-year-old, it's like, you know, understanding the difference of each of our kids too, because everybody takes in information differently, but
Yes.
to be able to hold that space for them in their moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because what you're doing is you're holding space for you
Mhm.
in that moment.
Yes. And not choking somebody sometimes.
Yes. No,
Right,
absolutely. Yeah.
right. Because it's and this is the work that we do with our clients,
Mhm.
right? And this is like when you're talking about the relationship with the parent and the child, it's like you're talking to your own inner child. How you treat them is how you treat your inner
Mhm.
child,
Mhm.
you know, that is rejecting you or, you know, rejecting love, you know,
Yes. Yes.
or, you know, the infinite other number of things that may take place.
I feel like I'm having class today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to remind everybody, if you're just now joining us, you are listening to Sage Advice with Melissa. We are here today with Kara and Edmundo Mendez, and we're talking about love is the medicine. So we're going to continue on with the love. So what does love is the medicine mean?
I
Because we're
think
going to
this
go
is
deep into
yeah,
love now.
Well, I think
Mhm.
that's what we were just talking about,
Yeah.
you know, that love is the medicine because when love is present, there is no fear. There is just acceptance, you know, unconditional love. You know, there's and on the way over here, we were talking about how we have all these parts of us that need love, but we reject them because they're in the shadow or because, you know, when we were small children, we reject them because it didn't serve us in that moment. And so we put them away, but they need love.
Mhm.
And so whenever we do the work, is that all parts are welcome, and no matter if your shadow or your limited beliefs or whatever it might be shows up, we're still gonna love that part of you.
Mhm.
And people experience massive healing because of that, because they've never had that before.
Mhm.
They've never experienced that before. You know, talk about whenever you're in your wounding and your pain and your sorrow, whatever, that, you know, sometimes as children we didn't have somebody to hold us in that way.
Mhm.
And as an adult now, like we're wanting that. And when you have somebody that can do that for you, it's like if suddenly you just excel, you're like, you
Mhm.
surrender to that, you know, you bring that parts of you back.
Mhm.
And that's the work that we do.
Yeah. And the key is that love is a purifier.
Mhm. Yes.
Everything
Yeah.
that love reverberates through, it purifies, it cleanses,
Mhm.
right? So wherever you hold shame, hatred, fear, doubt, when you bring love to that, you purify it
Mhm.
like a medicine. Then that's the medicine of love.
Right, right. And what would you say to somebody, you know, because we've got millions of listeners now, which is amazing. But for someone that stays in that place, because I know someone like this, that is all about what their childhood was like and why they are struggling so much now. What would you say to somebody that is, you know, maybe even considering or just tapping into this path of spirituality to encourage them to move forward and to let that resistance of childhood, because all of us have had something along our path as children, most of us, I would
Yes.
say, you know, to move beyond that in a way to honor themselves and love themselves through that.
Well, I think that we can't want for anyone that they don't want for themselves.
Mhm.
So the question is are they ready?
Right.
And if they are ready,
Mhm.
you need to learn how to love yourself. And it can be something so small, you know, as go getting a massage, you know,
Mhm.
doing your favorite activity. What that does is you start loving yourself again, because your parents couldn't give you that love. You feel like you're unworthy of their love. So it's our duty, it's our responsibility to learn how to love ourselves.
Mhm.
And it can be such a small little thing every day, you know, as, you know, just reading your favorite book, you know, taking yourself on a date, or whatever it is, that you start cultivating that self-love, because that's what is happening. You're telling yourself, I love you enough to spend this time with you or make this effort because you're worthy, because you're worth it. And so then the brain starts being like, okay. And then, you keep building upon that.
Mhm.
To reparent yourself, to be that parent that you didn't have, that love you, that we can do that for ourselves.
Mhm. And it's hard work once we get on this path, because I've
Mhm.
seen just being on my own about the same time you have been on it, and I think these last few years have been like the most impactful. But it is a real process, and it takes real effort to want to parent ourselves.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know.
Something that I've been practicing a lot, is really not violating myself and changing that relationship I have with myself. When it comes to friendships or money or my time or whatever, that I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that, because I love myself enough to be like, no, I can't violate myself in this way. And what I'm doing is I'm building that relationship with myself.
Mhm.
Like it's the same thing as you would with your partner. You do that with yourself.
Mhm.
But you have to, like Kara was saying, you have to be ready for that, because in what you spoke earlier, it's like being in your victimhood, right? Being like, my
Mhm.
parents did me this, that they did that,
Mhm.
whatever. And from there, you really can't accomplish much. So you have to start being like, okay, cool. I had a crappy childhood, and my parents didn't give me this. They were doing the best they could also, and have that compassion for them, and understanding, and be like, okay, but now it's my job to do this. Now it's my job
Mhm.
to love myself.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
The-
it's taking responsibility for your
Yes.
journey.
Yes.
And I said at the beginning, I feel like it can be overwhelming.
Mhm.
And it's
Absolutely.
just small steps, like
Mhm.
really tiny small steps. It doesn't you don't have to be like on the wake up one morning and be like, okay, I love myself. Just small steps, like
Yeah.
getting your favorite coffee, having that conversation with your best friend, whatever. It's just reprogram the brain to say, let the love in. You're worth it. You're worth it.
Yes. I want to take this opportunity, because believe it or not, it goes so fast. We're coming up on our break, but I want both of you to share how everybody can get a hold of you. I know you've got some retreats coming up, so let's take a moment. We're going to go a little deeper into those retreats. Hopefully we'll have time at the end of the show, but share how they can find you and see what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook is just Kara Mendez. You can search me up. Instagram, it's at Kara Mendez _.
Mhm.
Yep. And I do have a website. It's not the most current, but it's also www.karamendez.com.
Awesome. And
And
how
for
about
me,
you?
I'm not huge on social media, but I'm on Facebook,
Yep.
Edmundo Mendez.
Okay. And do you want to share real quick what retreats you have coming
Yeah.
up? Because I can't wait to hear more about those.
Yes, we actually have a SWAT Lodge ceremony coming up on March 24th. It's held at our home, on our sacred land, which is where the Sweat Lodge is located, that
Amazing.
Edmundo built, and it's called A Return to Sacredness.
I
Awesome.
highly recommend it. There are this magic happens
It's
Awesome.
during the ceremonies.
Well, everybody get online and get signed up, and we will be back with you in just a few minutes after we take a short break. Thanks.
If you're looking for a new informative health and lifestyle show to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully, then you need to listen to Sage Advice with Melissa. It's live each Thursday from 10 to 11. Now, whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from industry experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. Melissa's mission? To guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness, and to give you a voice to help improve your life. So be sure to tune in to Melissa on KWRH 92.9 FM every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our number one priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland.
Do you want to become a radio show host, or do you want to create a radio show? Well, Dr. Stan Fine can help you to have your own radio show and put you on 100 cities daily across the U.S. And you can immediately start recording from a live radio studio. As a radio industry veteran, Dr. Stan Fine has 12 years of experience and has produced and hosted over 1,000 radio shows with over 10 million listeners. Dr. Stan Fine knows how to make this happen for you. He's a pro, and he can turn your dreams into a reality. Dr. Stan Fine will help you with everything from learning how to promote your show, develop a host persona, interview techniques, market your show on social media, teach you how to get guests and sponsors, and more. Dr. Stan Fine can put you on the air nationwide daily to 100 cities. If you're interested in making your dream come true, if you want to see how it all works, then give Dr. Stan Fine a call at 314-710-8413. That's 314-710-8413. You've got nothing to lose, and Dr. Stan Fine can help make your nationwide radio dreams come true.
Is your business struggling with getting found online? Are you having a hard time finding a marketing company that you can trust? Look no further than Vivial. At Vivial, we are experts at helping connect buyers to consumers by our innovative marketing strategies with proven methods that help businesses connect to their target demographic. For a free consultation, call Anthony today at 314-437-1906. That's 314-437-1906.
Have you always wanted to write your own book but don't know where to start? Publishing Concepts, a publishing company located right here in St. Louis, offers everything from consulting, book printing, copyrights, ISBNs and barcodes, print book layout, ebook and iBook layout, graphic design, cover design, ghostwriting, typing and editing, distribution, marketing, and more for an affordable price. Visit publishingconceptsllc.com or just Google Publishing Concepts to get started today, or call 314-781-8880. That's 314-781-8880. Publishing Concepts. We help you sell more books.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of Sage Advice with Melissa. I am your host, Melissa Coleman. You are listening to us here on 92.9 FM and KXOK 102.9 FM. We simulcast there every Saturday from noon to 1. We are on Facebook Live every Thursday from 10 to 11. And then you can catch us on My Genre Radio from 7 to 8 a.m. and then again from noon to 1 p.m. All you have to do is search your city there and search our show, and then you can listen to us. We have the beautiful Kara and handsome Edmundo Mendez with us today. We are talking about Love is the Medicine. We kind of wrapped up our first half, kind of really getting into what love is as medicine for everyone. So let's kind of get into those divine gifts, because those are loving things that we get. So what are divine gifts? 2, does everyone have them? So
Yes.
take it away.
Everyone has divine gifts. Everyone does. And our divine gifts, I've kind of identified them as like 3 kind of like core divine gifts that we all wield.
Mm-hmm.
And that is our intuition,
Mm-hmm.
our love, and our sexual energy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like that because they do all go together.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think as we've grown up, we've been so taught
Mm-hmm.
and programmed,
Yes.
as we use here,
Mm-hmm.
not to acknowledge those things.
Mhm.
I've shared with our listeners, like I felt something probably at the age of 4,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like when you don't really have anyone close to you to express it, discuss it,
Guide
have a
you.
conversation, right? It's like you kind of stuff it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then for like most of us, like you 16 years ago, me, I think
Mhm.
16, 17 years ago now, it's like something happens and shakes the foundation. And then you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
It just grasps your attention.
Yes.
It's like you can't deny it no more. You have to listen.
Right.
You have to explore it.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is the key here. That we all have divine gifts, but we have to pay attention. Like we have to listen. We have to explore it. And some of us, like I said, because of programming, like not me. Who am I to be having divine gifts? Who am I to be able to have visions of this or an intuition, like Kara was saying? Who am I to use my sexual energy for healing?
Mhm.
So you constantly deny it, and really what you have to do is just accept it, and explore it, and this is what gives you your purpose.
Absolutely.
This is what gives you this is why we're here.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And we each have like these, our sexual energy, our love, our intuition expresses uniquely through each of us based on our soul's purpose here in this lifetime.
Mhm. Yes. No, I love that. So is this something someone knows? Well, we've kind of talked about this a little bit instinctively that they have these gifts, or is this something that people become aware of as they start the road of self-discovery and alignment with mind, body, and spirit?
Whenever you're ready, you come to us.
I love it when you talk like that.
Probably a very good answer.
No, but really, whenever you're ready and you try to make sense of things, go look for those mentors, for those guides, people that have walked that path to be like, no, you're not crazy. What your experience is real. And here's what you can do, and this is how you maneuver it. Because sometimes you do feel crazy, and sometimes you do
Yes.
feel alone,
Mhm.
and sometimes you're like, who else is going through this?
Mhm.
And I know that's been our experience, where
Mhm.
we're like, there's times where we felt very alone.
Mhm.
Of like, okay, like, is this real? Or we're going crazy? Like, do we need to explore this? Like, what's going on? And it's been our experience to guide other people through that.
Mhm.
I think that we oftentimes do know that we have gifts, but maybe those gifts weren't acknowledged for us as children, like you
Mhm.
said. And there was no one there, like Edmundo said, to guide us to expand on those gifts and to really like take them to the next level. And then some of us do know what those gifts are. Like maybe you have a gift of writing or speaking,
Mhm.
right? Or of art or these different things, which again is all expressions of your sexual energy,
Yes.
which is all creation energy, right? And so we do know, like, I think that we do have those, but some of us may feel like we don't.
Mhm.
When you hear people say, I'm not creative at all, right? Like that's oftentimes where we're blocking seeing our divine gifts.
Mhm.
So I think that I think that there are some people who just didn't know what their gifts were or who were programmed. Like, for example, like I was an elite athlete for a lot of my life. I was also loved fashion and hair and makeup. Right. And so I would have considered those my gifts,
Mhm.
But I had no idea that I was like deeply, deeply intuitive, that I can like see things and that I can read your energy and that I was empathic and that I could move energy through you and I could, you know what I mean? And I can like literally touch your heart and just open it and you would just tears just start to I never knew that I could do that.
Mhm.
No.
Yes.
I didn't
Yes.
know that my sexual energy could heal you.
Mhm.
I didn't know that my love could heal you. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Right. Right.
So I think there's both. I think now I feel like I see a lot of women that I work with, like they knew that they were like intuitive or psychic even, or they knew that they could feel other people's feelings, and I think we're starting to really in the collective, really in humanity, like starting to understand that these things exist more,
Absolutely.
and starting to like reclaim them and own them and let them be seen and utilize them.
Mhm.
Like I was just on a client session yesterday, and at the end of the session, she could see this like orange light just like billowing out from behind her after we had just reprogrammed a new belief. And I was like, well, that's the color of your sacral chakra, orange. That's
Mhm.
like pleasure, like sensuality, like creation energy. Right. But she can see color,
Mhm.
in energy. I don't see energy as color, but some people do. Right.
Right.
That's a divine
Absolutely.
gift.
Mhm.
Right. So I think that too. It's like, and this woman was like, "Oh, I've always been able to see color,"
I know.
and I'm like,
Mhm.
"That's a gift. That's
Yes.
your gift."
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But no one ever told her that before.
Mhm. I know it's so amazing just to hear stories of
Mhm.
people's, openings to all of this, and just,
Mhm.
things they've experienced, on this path. So I want to ask the two of you, because we are here in this month of
Mhm.
love,
Mhm.
Valentine's Day is around the corner. So how does love, which we've kind of touched upon, but I'd love for you to go a little deeper, is how does this play a part in your work, and most importantly, how you two operate in your relationship, and
Mm.
how does that look? Because I think so
Mhm.
many couples are so missing that communication piece.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel for me, just starting on my own path really saved, and solidified my marriage in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, because by changing myself,
Yes.
it changed that dynamic and energy within our relationship. And now, he's tapping the toe in a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, it's been a really amazing experience. But you two have really come together on this path, kind of together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear a little bit more of that, so we
Mhm.
inspire our
Yeah.
couples and our singles out there listening.
Well, I think at the beginning it was extremely hard to be in a relationship. We went through a lot of breakups and a lot of turmoil, like I said, a lot of fighting, a lot. And I think what changed that was we started cultivating our own self love. It all
Mhm.
starts with us, and because of that, we started seeing the other person's love, and that really changed everything. But actually, for me, it was when my first son was born, because I think till that moment I never knew what love truly was till I
Mhm.
had this little being in front of me, and I remember like the first time I wanted to tell him I love him, it was such a hard thing to do. Like it was like this emotion that I had never felt, and it was so intense that I remember like I told him I love him, and I just started crying, and I was like I didn't even understand why, because I feel like my heart had just opened,
Mhm.
you know. And from there I knew what love was, and I started cultivating that self-love. And I mean, it's been quite the journey,
Mhm.
but I think like that really is what changed our relationship for the better,
Mhm.
that we started working on ourselves, cultivating that self-love, and because of that we were able to go deeper, with our intimacy and
Mhm.
acceptance and our safety and everything, and that really took our relationship to a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. I I feel like Edmundo and I went to Sedona a couple of years ago. This is the story that's feeling very present for me right now to share.
Mhm.
And we went and did some hikes to the feminine and masculine vortex. And they were beautiful, profound experiences. And then after that, we did a plant medicine journey that was facilitated actually by two other like shaman priestesses.
Mhm.
And that was a huge shift for me within our relationship, because prior to that, I was asked to surrender to the masculine that weekend. That was not ever in the realm of possibility for me before.
Mhm.
I was so guarded and felt so unsafe in my body and my being that I could not do that. There was so much protection, right?
I
Like,
understand that.
yes, right? Like we have that masculine protector of mine, and God love him. He is fierce,
Mhm.
right? But everything was a threat to him, right? He was just out like wielding the sword all the time. And I could not let Edmundo into my heart. I could not let him near it, right? It was always a distance.
Mhm.
You got to stay out here. Nope, it's not
Some-
safe.
Sometimes it's easier to love than to let the love in.
Yeah.
You know, we've come to realize. You know,
Yeah.
it's like our love has always been there, her love, but it was hard to experience it because I wouldn't let it in, and vice versa.
Yeah. I could not receive it. And I finally got to a level of safetyness within me that I was able to surrender to him.
Mhm.
And that was the first time ever. And since then, that was in what year was that?
2 years. It was
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Since then, I have surrendered multiple times over and over and over, and let him deeper and deeper, like received his love deeper and deeper and deeper within my heart.
Mhm.
But being able to have conversations about our deepest desires, fantasies, fears, you know, sitting in front of him and just letting him see me fall apart, letting him like touch the parts of me that I've never let anyone see before, and letting him see me that way.
Mhm.
Like that is that has been the journey, and that has taken so much of me learning how to trust myself, learning to be safe within myself,
Mhm.
to feel safe, and letting him hold me in that way.
and for me, my experience has been to be able to cultivate enough self-love for myself that I didn't need anything from Kara. And because of that, she was
Mhm.
able to surrender to me, and she was able to open herself to me, because I wasn't coming from a place of like, I need you. It was coming like, I'm just here for you.
Mhm.
I don't need anything from you. Just let me love you. Because we've all had that love, you know, where it's like restrictive, you
Yeah.
know, suffocating.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
because that other person is like, let me love you because I don't love myself.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and you can tell the difference, you know, when somebody loves you unconditionally, and when
Mhm.
somebody loves you, you know, because they don't have self-love. So it feels unsafe. It feels like you can't fully let them in. And that was like what changed,
Mhm.
you know, that I think in that moment in Sedona, there's just so much magic that happened where we were able to meet ourselves in a different place.
Yeah. And you know, as you were talking too about like not wanting anything from me, there was I mean, and there's been multiple different experiences of this, but one of the ones that I feel like would be really pertinent to the listeners is, and as a lot of women can relate to this, is that we mother our men,
Mhm.
right? And that's like where you're talking about
Mhm.
they want something from us and it just feels kind of yuck, you
Mhm.
know? And so this is like a path of sovereignty, right? Of not needing and wanting from someone else to be whole, to be fulfilled. And so for us as women, I can speak for women,
Mhm.
what that requires is for us to lovingly put down our men like you would a child and
Mhm.
let them stand on their own
Mhm.
versus sourcing them whatever they're sourcing from us, whether it's love, comfort, nurturing, what have you, and let them learn to access their own source of that.
Mhm.
Because
And-
we all have our
Mhm.
own source of that.
Yes.
But we also do this as women to keep our stories in place.
Mhm.
This is why I can't have what I want, because, and then we ask them almost energetically at a subconscious level, we're asking that of them.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh,
And
absolutely.
and for men,
Yes.
you know, no woman can surrender to you when she sees you as a child. That you can't. You know, no woman's gonna give you her heart, her being, her essence if she sees you as her child. And it became very clear to me, you know, that I'm like, I can't have her see me, mother me, or see me as her child, because this is this connection I want with her, this intimacy that I want with her. It's never gonna happen.
Mhm.
So I needed to break that from that, you know, from the mother wound. and that was my work for years, you know, like to be able to see myself as a king, as a warrior,
Mhm.
you know, not as a child that I
Yes.
needed her to mother me. And because of that, our dynamic of the relationship changed.
Yes.
And so it was like a multi-layer, but into that journey that we happened in Sedona, it all kind of came together in that
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just add one more layer to that because again, I'm just feeling into the collective here.
You feel
Is for us as women, when we play that mother role, we're playing a role of superiority, right? Because the mother is in the hierarchy above the child, right? And so then, and because when you talked about like claiming your king, I had to do that. I had to choose to see him as my king and not as someone below me.
Right.
Right. Because, and we position ourselves in a superior role to protect us, to prevent us from having to be vulnerable. Right. And also to keep us in that victim consciousness, that cycle of always being, I have to do it all. If I don't do it, no one else will because I'm better than everyone else. I'm the more responsible. Right? Do you see the superiority? Like all of these different thoughts that we have start to, and it erodes the intimacy and the connection of the relationship.
I work with a lot of women, and some women are always asking this question. It goes both ways, but it's just that, except because I work with women, they're always asking me, say, "Hey, no, I'm in this path of like, you know, growth and being able to cultivate that love with me, but my husband is not. What can I do? You know, what can I do? You know, and I've tried to like force him to like read this book or come to somewhere, and he won't do it. The only thing you can do is to see him as his higher self. To see him as your king, because whenever you do that, you're going to treat him as such, and he's going to know that something within you has changed. But if you see him, like I said, like a child, if you see him like incapable, if you see him like, you know, he's not doing it because he's not doing it like you, then that he feels incompetent now. He feels like, you know, and not enough. Right. And it goes both ways, like I said. Right. So that's the best thing we can do for our partners, to see them as that person you want them to show up as.
Absolutely.
That is the only thing we can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
To see them. Like, and I had to do this with Edmundo. I chose to see him as his divine self. It's the only way that this works.
Yeah.
The only way.
Yeah.
Yes. No. And I think that's beautiful because so much of really what both of you said is like so on point. And I think just to add to what you were talking about as women, because I think almost any conversation at some point in time with a friend that's married or involved, maybe has kids with somebody, is that we do tend to look at our husbands as another child
Yep.
or our significant other. And it is really detrimental to the relationship. And like you said, our path starts with ourselves, and that starts to outwardly shift everything else around us. And you know, it is so important to see the people around us, whether it's children, spouses, business, you know, people we work with, as their divine selves. So I love how you brought that around, because it is so true.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's like this core wounding of the feminine, the masculine, the men and women, is being the woman feeling like it's just too much, and the men feeling like it's not enough, and then this dynamic is played out. You know, where she's like, you know, you can't hold me, you can't support me, you can't be there for me, and the man feeling like, oh, I'm not enough, I can't do that, you know. And so it plays out in this dynamics of like a mother and child, you know, the victimhood, you know, feeling like, well, I can't do anything because my wife won't let me, or whatever, you know. I don't have a say in my household, whatever it might be. It just plays out, and you have to change that by, you know, seeing her like as my queen, and she sees me as her king, and we stop, you know, playing into those dynamics.
And then things become really delicious.
Right.
We'll say that for next time.
It does improve everything.
Yes,
It really
yes,
does.
yes.
I just want to remind everybody, if you're just now joining us, you're listening to Sage Advice with Melissa. I am your host, Melissa Coleman. We are here today with Kara and Edmundo Mendez. We're talking about love is medicine. So we're just going to keep on going down the road. We haven't even gotten into like our second half of questions because, like I said, you all are going to have to come back. But, just in reading your bio, you talked about liberator. And, when you think of the true meaning of that per the dictionary, it is a person who liberates a person or place from imprisonment or oppression. So how does this apply in the world in which you two revolve and work with your clients? Because I think that's huge. 'Cause
Truth.
it's the same, but it's different.
Mhm.
It's the truth. It's living from a place of truth.
Mhm.
Place that the truth that is you're worth it. The places that you already love. The truth that is you're already whole. And this is what we do. This is what we mirror to you. When people come to us, even to our home just to hang out, they love it there because we're reminded of who they are. That there is no other place to be. You're everything you care. You have a saying that is a beautiful saying that you say all the time. Everything you want is everything.
Everything you desire is yours because you are everything you desire.
Mhm. I love that.
And that's so true. That is so
Mhm.
true. And it is just like when we say we're liberators because we won't let you lie to yourself anymore. We will hold you accountable to the truth.
Mhm.
Kara's really good at that.
Yes.
Well, I wield a sword of truth. That is one of my gifts.
Mhm.
It's the gift of the dark feminine. That's what we liberate is the dark feminine and the dark masculine within you. That's those forbidden, tabooed, shamed, hidden, oppressed, repressed aspects of the self,
Mhm.
right? That we all know through religion, through society, have been cast out, have been
Yes.
exiled. And when we liberate you, we use love to set you free, right? Well, we show you how to use your love to set yourself free,
Mhm.
right? And we just, again, we mirror that to you. And that is, it's profound in that, like Edmundo said, it brings you back to the truth, to that pure original essence of who you are, and all of your shame, your exiled parts get to come back home,
Mhm. Yes.
right? And you get to embrace them, accept them, and therefore experience your wholeness again.
Mhm.
Because he said we are whole, but we have forgotten.
Yes. Yes.
I think one of my gifts is that I can, and during our the work, facilitating, that I can hold you through unconditional love. That I can create this this container of safety and love and acceptance where you can be reminded of who you are, and and remove that veil of like what you think life is or should be.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't believe we are actually to the end of the show. But again, one more time, I would love for you two to share again how our audience gets a hold of you, the retreat you've got coming up. We got about a minute left.
Okay.
So
Yes,
you go.
come join us March 24th for a beautiful women's Temescal Sweat Lodge ceremony, a return to sacredness. And it's being held in Pacific, Missouri. People travel from all over the world, all over the United States thus
Yes.
far to
Oh, wow.
come to these experiences. You can reach me at Facebook, Kara Mendez, or Instagram, Kara Mendez _ or my website, KaraMendez.com.
You also have that workshop coming up online.
It has an accompanied online retreat as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Kara is Cara and Mendez is Mendez.
Yes, thank you.
So, all right. Well, we are going to turn it back over to the station. I want to thank you both for joining
you.
us. You will be back with
Thank
us
you.
again. Have a great day, everybody. And as we like to remind you, health is a state of mind, wellness is a state of being. Be good, everyone.